Here's a source that says that you'll find certain strands within Israelite people. And this is all throughout the Old Testament. If you read the Old Testament, what is God constantly doing? Rebuking his people for engaging in the practices of the pagans, worshiping gods and goddesses, worshiping at groves and trees, erecting sacred pillars, and committing orgies as acts of worship. And God is condemning that because his people are littered with that pagan influence. So what the source is saying is these practices may have been pre-Yahwistic, meaning these were the practices adopted, let's say, by Abraham before he came to know Yahweh, because these were the practices prevalent among the pagans. And then later on, because the Israelites interacted with these pagans, they continued being influenced by these practices that were long rejected by their father and condemned by Yahweh, because these practices are unholy and contrary to the purity of Yahweh.
Where did Abraham come from? Turkey, not Iraq. Okay? Beyond the Euphrates, we're going to talk about that, but also briefly, we're going to look at upright pillars, Göbekli Tepe, because we're going to start to find this crazy connection with Islam, the moon, and pillars, and Sirius, and stars, and star gods, and also the world's oldest. Now, they believe that Abraham, short version, Abraham was like, he worshipped the oldest religion, the first God, the original God. Okay? What is the world's oldest archaeological site? Well, Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. Scholars, based on biblical evidence and etc., all believed he came from the north, from this area here, Turkey. This area, Göbekli Tepe, is walking distance from where Abraham lived.
This is believed to be the oldest site, and Abraham lived walking distance from it.
Yes,
and
the oldest
the
temple.
oldest God worshipped in this area, which is the oldest God that we have as far as recorded evidence, is the moon god. So you're telling me even back then, in one of these oldest sites, if not the oldest sites, where Abraham lived, walking distance from, they worshipped the moon.
The star god, Sirius, the star god. But there's a link to the moon here. Don't worry. It's part of the same pantheon. It's the child of the moon.
So moon worship, astral worship, the worship of sun and moon and stars go way back. Just to show you how accurate your Bible is, how supernatural your Bible is. If you read Deuteronomy, if you go to Deuteronomy 29 and you read verses 24 to 27, and you read Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 19 to 20, and Deuteronomy 17, 2 to 3, you'll see there God says that as punishment for the nations for wanting to oppose God at the Tower of Babel, he handed them over to the worship of the sun and moon and stars. So archaeological discoveries are confirming what Bible has said about the ancient peoples.
Before Islam, pseudo-biblical Gnostics also reinterpreted the Bible. I mean, they still do today. John 8:44 has been a source of their hostility to Jews and Christianity, claiming it is a pro-Gnostic verse, with Jesus affirming that the Jews serve basically Satan, Yaldabaoth. So anti-Semites make the same claims while ignorant of its historical source, right? They seek to undermine the passage and legitimize their stance by asking if John 8:44 reads, "You are of your father, the devil," okay? Or "You are of the father of the devil." Jesus says to the Pharisees, remember, he's not talking to all Jews. He's speaking to a particular group of people.
Exactly. Those are
and he's saying, "You are of your father, the devil." But the Gnostics and the Muslims, indirectly, historically, they twisted it to say, "You are of the father of the devil." So if the Jews are of the father of the devil, then the God they worship is even worse than the devil. And if they worship Yahweh, exactly. Yahweh is supposed to be Satan, then Satan has a father that's even worse. Basically, Yahweh to the Gnostics is Satan. That's why the Bible is evil. So the word Hanif in the Quran, okay? The Quran is the holy book of the KKK. The word Hanif is used of Abraham as pure worship of Allah, contrasted with idolaters, mushrikun, that would be you. Okay, if you're not a Muslim, you're a mushrikun, right? Let's just close enough, right? But they are Hanifs. They worship. Now remember, they reject the Bible. They reject Judaism. They reject Christianity. So they are worshiping Allah. And in this context, Allah is an astrological god, an astrological deity. In fact, they're in the same category as the Sabaeans. It asserts that Abraham was neither Jew nor Christian, and that the people of the book were originally commanded to worship God as Hunafa, not as the polytheists and idolaters we are today. Idolatry goes against the God of the Bible. So idolatry, the whole purpose, the whole logic of idolatry is to create a house for the god, a symbol, a statue that holds him. And then you localize, you fix that god to that place, to that local space. Okay? That idol is not the god itself. The god is something separate, but he's now localized in that space. God is not cannot be tamed in an idol. God is everywhere. God is omnipresent. But also, to have an idol, you have to do a ceremony to make the idol alive. You have to do what's called the opening of the mouth ceremony. This goes back to ancient Egypt, of course. This is where this practice comes from. Let's look at the people of the book. Al-Kitab, the people of the book, are the Jews and Christians, and later extended to Sabians. These Sabians are not Sabaeans. Get that right, okay? There's the Sabians and the Sabaeans. The Sabaeans are the Yemeni worshippers of Al-Makkah, okay, the moon god. But there's a lot of confusion between the two. The Quran deliberately causes confusion between it. I don't think it's an accident. So the Sabians, we'll find these guys are in Turkey, they are in Haran, and you'll discover these are serious Gnostics, big time Gnostics, anti-Christian, okay, very, very much against Christianity. And Muslims borrowed from their religion, and they thought this was real Christianity because they reject biblical Christianity. And Zoroastrians, we've just discovered, they're coins, and they took the moon symbol. Let's continue. Abraham, in Quran 367, was not a Jew nor yet a Christian, but he was true in faith and bowed his will to Allah, which is Islam, and he joined not gods with Allah. So before Abraham became a Jew, he worshipped Al-Makkah. We're going to look at that. They say, become Jews or Christians if you would be guided to salvation, but say thou, nay, I follow the religion of Abraham, the true. He joined not gods with Allah. Well, the religion of Abraham was moon worship, as we know even from the Bible. Hanafiya is contrasted with polytheism and the corrupted monotheism of Jews and Christians. So most claim was that Abraham was righteous before he followed Yahweh, before Judaism was founded. So for a time, the Hanafiya was actually the name for Muhammad's religion, was actually historically a name for Muhammad's religion. But the name has changed many times for many reasons. We'll talk about all of that. Abraham was Hanif Muslim. Now, oddly, technical use of Muslim in Islam started only at the end of the second of 2 AH.
The term Muslim in Islam only started being employed by Muhammad's followers, or Muhammad, 2H. Now, if you don't know what 2H means, the second year after Muhammad migrated to Medina. The term Muslim Islam only became employed by Muhammad and his followers the second year after he went to Medina. That means from 610 all the way to 624 AD, they didn't call themselves Muslims or use the term Islam.
Yeah, they were Hanafiya. And we've just established the Hanafiya is the religion of Abraham before he became a Jew, which, as we know, was Sabaean moon worship, the Babylonian religion. That's what Abraham followed. So the word Hanif in Islamic literature, Ibn Hisham occasionally uses Hanif as equivalent of Muslim. Okay, more frequent is the use of the word Hanafiya for the religion of Abraham, which is Islam. Okay, we are going to have to look at the religion of Abraham at some point and see what was this religion as well. The form Tahannuf means the adoption or the practice of Islam, or the exercise of the quote-unquote true faith. Oddly enough, the word Tahannuth means penance, okay, which seems to be a Christian borrowing from Guillaume's Sirat Rasulullah, the life of Muhammad. Okay, so Salman the Persian told the apostoli that his master in Amoriya told him to go to a certain place in Syria where there was a man who lived between two thickets. That's in Syria between two thickets. Is that address familiar to you, Sam? It could be a guy on a corner in Bolivia. It's about as accurate as that, but okay. Every year, as he used to go from one to the other, the sick used to stand in his way, and everyone he prayed for was healed. Okay, so this guy was a Christian healer. Okay. And he said, ask him about this religion which you seek, for he can tell you of it. So Muhammad was looking for the original religion. They didn't know we've got this fake Judaism, we've got this fake Christianity. We need to find Abraham's original religion. Okay, let's go looking for it. So they went north, south, east, west, they went looking. The people came to this man with their sick, and everyone he prayed for was healed. And then he eventually approaches the guy and he said, I said, Allah have mercy on you. Tell me about the Hanafiya, the religion of Abraham. And this man replied, you are asking about something men do not inquire of today. The time has come near when a prophet called Mo, spoiler, will be sent with this religion from the people of the Haram. Remember, the Haram is the pyramids, Egypt. Go to him, for he will bring you to it. Oh, Muhammad will bring you to this religion of Abraham. Then he went into the thicket. The apostle said to Salman, "If you have told me the truth, you have met Jesus, the son of Mary."
Salman the Persian, supposedly looking for the true religion, met Jesus on earth in Syria. Jesus was still on earth during the time Muhammad appeared as a prophet. So Salman spoke to Jesus because Jesus was still appearing in Syria, and he would heal people because he's a man between two thickets. And Jesus told him, "You'll find the man with the true religion of Abraham in Mecca." And so Muhammad said, "If what you told me is the truth, that was Jesus who spoke to you. You saw Jesus and met Jesus."
Jesus said, "Momo will bring you the true religion of Abraham."
So Jesus was on earth, but I thought Allah took him to himself. What happened, Lloyd?